Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're tackling a topic that often goes overlooked, but is incredibly vital. Prison food. We're going to specifically look at the California Men's Colony, or CMC, and uncover what's really going on with the meals served behind bars. It's a story of policies, budgets, and the very real human impact. When you think about prison food, what comes to mind? Bland, unappetizing. Well, it's often far worse than you can imagine. Our investigation into CMC reveals a significant and persistent gap between official mandates and the realities experienced by incarcerated individuals. That's a pretty strong statement, right? Let's go back in time for a moment. The California Men's Colony, or CMC, was established in 1954, initially to house older men. The West facility opened in 1954, followed by the East facility in 1961. This initial focus on a specific demographic could imply a more individualized, health-responsive approach to food provision in the early years of CMC. This early focus might have meant more tailored dietary considerations for specific health needs. But here's where things drastically changed. The system shifted from potentially more localized and varied diets to a highly standardized, centrally sourced, and often processed institutional food system. Individual prisons used to have more autonomy over their food services decades ago, with head cooks even planning menus that utilized locally available ingredients and reflected regional culinary traditions. With many dishes prepared largely from scratch, but centralization, driven by efficiency and cost-cutting, led to a troubling decline in food quality. And this brings us to one of the most shocking revelations: the budget. The food budget for California inmates is a mere $4.30 per person, per day, for all 3 meals. Let that sink in. Compare that to $11.80 per day allocated for residents in California's veterans residential facilities. This huge disparity in funding highlights a major disparity in state funding, priorities, and directly impacts what ends up on an inmate's plate. Despite official CDCR policies mandating meals that meet nutritional needs and even introducing healthier options like a new plant-based protein, pea protein, crumbles, in April 2023. The reality is grim. Inmates consistently describe the food as straight garbage, often reporting it to be spoiled, rotten, or expired, sometimes with very much visible mold. A national survey found that 75% of formerly incarcerated people reported being served spoiled or rotten food while in prison. The meals are often characterized as high in refined carbohydrates and sodium, and severely lacking in fresh produce. And it's not just quality, it's quantity. Inmate testimonies frequently report portion sizes as barely enough for toddlers and insufficient for adults, leading to chronic hunger. A national survey on prison food found that a staggering 94% of respondents couldn't eat enough in prison to feel full. CDCR regulations explicitly state that providing only the minimum servings outlined in this regulation is not sufficient to meet the inmate's caloric requirements, and therefore, additional servings must be provided in amounts to meet caloric requirements. Yet, inmate reports suggest this isn't happening in practice. This inadequate and poor quality diet has severe consequences. Incarcerated individuals are 150% more likely than the general population to have histories of diabetes, hypertension, or asthma, and shockingly, foodborne illnesses are reportedly 6 times more likely to occur in prisons. Beyond physical health, there's a profound psychological toll. Inmates report increased anxiety and depression and describe the overall experience as dehumanizing. The food often upsets my stomach, and some even compare the quality of the food to that given to pigs. This chronic hunger and poor food quality even drives inmates to create spreads, improvised meals made from commissary items. But even commissary access highlights an issue. It creates a 2-tiered food system within prisons, exacerbating socioeconomic inequalities as access to better food becomes dependent on external financial support. This can even feel like a form of economic exploitation. It's worth noting that incarcerated individuals are extensively utilized in prison. Kitchens for meal preparation. Historically, Inmates prepared meals under supervision, a practice that continues, with records showing inmates, such as Audi's Franklin Smith, serving as head bakers at CMC in the 1970s. While some programs, such as partnerships with Cuesta College, offer culinary arts training to inmates at CMC, the typical wages for prison jobs are incredibly low, ranging from 8 cents to 37 cents per hour. And here's the kicker. Refusing to work can result in reassignment to solitary confinement, which the United Nations recognizes as a form of torture. This raises serious ethical questions about the true purpose of inmate labor in kitchens. So, what can be done? The report outlines key recommendations for improvement. Enhanced budget allocation for inmate meals. A substantial increase is critically needed, moving significantly beyond the current $4.30 to allow for fresh, whole, and diverse ingredients, decentralized sourcing with local partnerships. This would move away from the current centralized industrial model and allow for more fresh produce, as some out-of-state correctional facilities have successfully done, even resulting in budget surpluses. Empowerment of dietitians, giving dietitians greater autonomy and resources to plan genuinely nutritious, varied, and palatable menus, ensuring nutritional guidelines are met in practice, not just on paper. Robust oversight and complaint mechanisms, implementing more rigorous, independent, and frequent oversight for food quality. Portion control, and safety standards across all CDCR facilities, including CMC, is essential, along with clear, accessible, and responsive channels for inmate complaints. And finally, a fundamental shift in mindset to prioritize food as a foundation for rehabilitation. Chronic hunger, poor nutrition, and associated physical and mental health issues actively hinder inmates' ability to engage in educational, vocational, or therapeutic programs. By prioritizing food quality, the system can foster improved morale, reduce stress, enhance physical and mental health, and create an environment more conducive to personal growth and positive behavioral change, ultimately supporting successful reintegration into communities. The issue of prison food is about more than just meals. It's about dignity, health, and the potential for rehabilitation. When we compromise on basic human needs, we compromise the very goals of our correctional system and ultimately public safety. It's time to move beyond the bars and truly examine what we're feeding our incarcerated population, both literally and figuratively. What do you think about these findings? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe for more in-depth investigations. See you next time.